Hello, I'm Matt, and this is a story about my long way home. I spent most of my life trying to become someone else. I thought if I could be straight and not gay, everything would just be okay. So I married a woman. I built businesses. I worked in masculine industries. I chased success, approval, and acceptance, and it never worked. But no matter what I did and what I achieved, I couldn't escape the truth. The person I was trying to hardest to convince wasn't my family, wasn't my friends, wasn't society. It was myself. My name is Matt. I was born in 1970, and this is my story of a gay man who spent decades searching for acceptance everywhere except inside, except for me. Welcome to my long way home. So, why am I telling my story? Well, for many years, I believed there was something wrong with me. I thought that if I could just be straight, everything would be okay. If I could somehow change who I was, maybe could finally have the love, approval, and acceptance I so desperately wanted. So I did what many men of my generation did, and that was I tried to build the life everyone expected me to have. I married a woman. I tried to be the son my parents wanted. I tried to be the man society expected me to be. But eventually I learned the difficult truth. And the truth was, you can't be someone else by trying harder. Welcome to my long way home with Matt. This channel is about the journey from hiding to authenticity. It's about what happens when you spend decades trying to be everything to everyone except yourself. And it's about the freedom that finally comes with you when you stop pretending. Who I am. So I was born in 1970. But many younger LGBTQ people today have grown up in a world that is far more accepting than the one I knew as a child, and that's fantastic. It's the best news we could have. When I was growing up, being gay wasn't something people celebrated. It was just discussed with compassion or understanding. It was something many people feared, ridiculed, condemned, or felt ashamed of. I grew up in rural northwestern Virginia, near the panhandle of West Virginia. Life as a gay kid there was not easy. My father was a very masculine man who often made crude jokes about gay people. Boys were expected to be tough. Boys played with masculine toys. Boys didn't cry. Boys didn't share their emotions. And boys certainly weren't gay. At least that's what I believed. Looking back, I think I knew I was different around the age of 7 or 8. Maybe even slightly before. I do remember watching Three's Company and seeing John Ritter play Jack Tripper on that show. I was fascinated by the life that those young people lived at that time because I wasn't anywhere near a beach and really had never experienced the beach, but also the fact that I had feelings towards John Ritter that I believed were not normal. I didn't completely understand what the feelings at the time were, but I knew something inside me was different from all the other boys. The realization that frightened me because once I understood I was different, I also understood that being different was not considered acceptable in the world around me. It was tough. As a child, you don't have the language for those feelings. You just know that who you are doesn't seem to match who you're expected to be. And so throughout my entire life, until very recently, I became obsessed with earning everyone and everything's approval. I didn't want to upset my parents because our relationship, it was already a transactional relationship. Love seemed connected to performance, achievements, meeting certain expectations and goals. Being gay felt like one more disappointment I couldn't afford to reveal. So I made the deal with myself. I would do whatever it took to fix it. I thought if I married a woman, maybe the gay would go away. Maybe I could bury it and just not think about it or not divulge on it or not experience it or just ignore it. Maybe I could become the person everyone wanted me to be if I could just get rid of the gay. I thought building successful businesses would earn the love and the acceptance I was looking for. I took jobs in extremely masculine industries to prove I was a real man. Everything became about proving myself. Faster, better, more successful, more accomplished. Maybe then I would finally be enough. The burnout was unbelievable. The burnout was a huge burden. But no achievement ever solved the real problem. Because the real problem was that I wasn't gay. That wasn't the real problem. The problem was that I believed I had to stop being myself in order to be loved. So for me, I believed that no matter what I did, how I did it, to anyone in my life, growing up in the environment that I grew up in, I was never going to be accepted for who I was. So therefore, I had to be someone I wasn't. I remember watching the AIDS crisis unfold in the 80s on television, and I remember seeing members of the LGBTQ community mocked, bullied, beaten, and treated as less than human. It terrified me. It was a frightening, scary experience, as it would be, I think, for any gay, lesbian, LGBTQ person in growing up in the same time. I learned very early that staying hidden felt safer than being honest. My family made their views crystal clear. Being gay wasn't treated as a difference, it was treated as a defect. If you were gay, you were wrong. My mother used to say that gay people had their wires crossed. Imagine hearing that as a child, when you already suspect that you might be one of those people. I carried that shame for years, decades. I believed I was fundamentally broken. I believed I was a mistake. And when you believe that long enough, it changes how you see yourself and every decision you make. Every decision you make. There's not a decision that didn't run through my head that wasn't influenced by that. Thankfully, there was one person in my life who accepted me exactly as I was. My maternal grandmother. She loved me without conditions, without requirements, without demanding that I become someone else. She saw me. She saw me for who I was. And when you're growing up feeling invisible, being truly seen by even one person can change your life. It did mine. She shaped the man I am today. Her kindness, compassion, and willingness to help others continue to live within me today. And I'll share more about her and the profound impact she had on my life in future episodes. There's a lot there. She got me to the point of, in my life, even though she died many years ago, she got me to the point in my life up until just a few years ago. Without her being in my life, it would have never happened. So the biggest lesson that I've learned in life is that the approval from others can never replace the acceptance of yourself. The most important thing we need to make sure that young people today, whether it's your children or young people you're involved with in the community, is that they feel accepted for who they are. It is not only dangerous, it's life-threatening if they don't. I'm living proof, and I have a lot of stories to tell about that exact thing. You can spend your entire life trying to earn acceptance from your parents, society, family, friends, co-workers, partners. But if you don't accept yourself, none of it will be enough. Ever. None of it will ever be enough. I know, I tried for decades and decades and decades, and it was never enough. So, and the problem was that I believed I had to stop being myself in order to be loved. I lost myself. I was living in almost an alternate reality of myself. It was a very scary time. Very, very scary time. And why this channel exists is because as I was being destroyed by how hard I was trying not to be who I was, I realized that there's a lot of people either in my shoes or working their way out of them. So I started this channel not to blame anyone, not to blame my parents or family or society or anyone. I started it and not to relive old wounds. I don't want to do that. I'm not here to do any of that. I'm here because I want people right now, because I know there's people out there right now who are experiencing and have experienced the same things in life that I have. And I want to try to help those people. I know that my story, if taken to heart, can help and can make a difference. And that's what I hope to do. Um, people like me are out there currently hiding, frightened, convinced they're broken. I was totally convinced that I was broken and that I could never be fixed. And there's nothing wrong with us. Nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with being gay or in the LGBTQ community or being black or being of any minority. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. As a matter of fact, I think it makes you a very special person. I would not want to be anything other than gay. Um, and it's sometimes can be very difficult to see through that when everyone around you is telling you that you're broken or that there's something wrong with you or that you're the problem. So in closing, I just wanted to say my story isn't about being gay. It's about being authentic and being self-acceptance. If you don't have self-acceptance, you're never going to achieve anything else in life. Everything else will have a hollowed victory and feel empty inside when you're finished. You know, I accomplished a lot in my life, and I have accomplished a lot. I hope to accomplish a lot more, but none of the accomplishments made up for the fact that I wasn't being truly who I am. And it's damaging. And like I said, life-threatening. And it's about finally learning to love yourself after spending years of trying to love anyone else but myself. And that's exactly what I did. If any part of my story, of this story, of what I've talked about today, sounds familiar, I hope you'll join me, because it's going to be a very interesting journey, and one I think that will help you and me as well. I'm still growing. I have 50 years, 5 decades of hating myself, hating who I was, not respecting myself. I have 5 decades of that to work through. I've done a lot of work. I have a lot of work to go. And I'd love to do it with you, because I think anytime you are involved in a situation like this, the more people you have around you that sound familiar, seem familiar, that understand your situation, the better you can grow and heal from it. So my goal here is to just do that, for me to grow and me to heal, and hopefully you'll come along for the journey and for the ride, and you can heal and grow as well. I'm here to only help people. I'm not here for money. I'm not here for fame. I'm here to help people. I wish that something like this, a podcast, a person, an individual, someone that had experienced this, had been around when I was younger to help me through the times when I thought, no, I've just got to be straight. I've just got to hide who I am. I've just got to be someone else. And as long as I am, the world, my parents, everyone will accept me and love me for who I am. And that is the furthest from the truth. If you can't love yourself, no one else is going to love you. To quote a phrase from RuPaul's Drag Race. throw a little gay thing in there. So, and if I can find my way home, and I found my way home. Now, my home is in a bit of disrepair. I'm still working on my home, but I have totally found my way home. And it is a miraculous feeling. It's the best feeling in the world. I've never lived my best life until the last couple of years when I've actually gotten home to where I need to be. And I hope that you'll follow me on that journey. So I want to thank you for being here and let you know that next time, my next video, I'll talk about what actually was like growing up to be gay in the 1970s and the 1980s. The political climate, the AIDS crisis, as I touched on before, the shame, the religion, the all the things that we had to deal with growing up in the 70s and 80s. So until then, until my next video, which I'm so excited about and so happy to hopefully help someone else, I will see you then. Take care of yourself and have a great day.